Hello, Asia, and hello, world. Amid geopolitical tension and conflict, observed rise in authoritarian rule, and decreasing public trust and confidence in governments, the situation seems to paint a bleak picture for democracies around the world. Yet the latest Democracy Index 2025 of the Economist Intelligence Unit offers a slightly different picture and a more positive one at that. The report said that after 8 years of declining scores, 2025 marks a stabilization that suggests an end to the democracy recession is underway, where the scores of nearly three-quarters of countries held steady or improved over the past year, and the global index rose by 0.02 points, one of the biggest since 2012. The EIU report said that the end of democratic recession is reflected by the number of positive regime changes since 2024. Of the 7 regime changes in 2025, 5 of them were positive. The improved democratic trend seems to point to a key indicator that could determine the outlook for democracy, which is the rise and impact of political participation, where the 2025 index reveals a critical dynamic that could determine the outlook for democracy, the rise and impact of political participation. The wave of citizen protests amid the discontent with government in several jurisdictions were seen as positive developments, particularly in areas where civil liberties scores are low. The report, however, noted that political participation is a necessary but insufficient step through which to achieve and solidify stronger democracies, where institutional reforms and increases in civil liberties and a greater influence in outcomes through electoral processes and pluralism are still needed. In Asia, EIU observed a continued 6 year regional score decline, where the most significant setbacks were concentrated in South Asia. The situation in the region offers some insights about how the citizen dissatisfaction in government and anger towards erring public officials manifested through protests and mass action translate into electoral participation and engagement. In 2024, 2 years after the Aragalaya uprising in 2022 that toppled the Rajapaksa regime, the movement rallied behind Anura Kumara Dissanayake, which led to his election as president in Sri Lanka. In Nepal, after the Gen Z-led protests in 2025, the election results were seen as a rebuke to the old political guards, with youth-driven RSP winning landslide victory. Nearly 10% of Nepal's recently elected lawmakers are 30 or younger compared to less than 2% in the last parliament. In Bangladesh, however, the new youth-led National Citizens Party, which grew out of the student revolution, performed dismally in the polls, with the established Bangladesh Nationalist Party winning a historic majority. In Thailand, following the youth-led protests in 2020, the Thai youth through its support for the Move Forward Party in the 2023 general election, where the party won most seats with 151 of 500 seats in the House of Representatives. They, however, failed to get confirmation for Prime Minister nominee Pita Limjaronrat. He was later banned from politics for 10 years after a Thai Constitutional Court's decision, which also ordered the dissolution of his party. The party rebranded as People's Party after the dissolution of MFP. The Election Observer podcast is back with new episodes. And in this episode of the Election Observer podcast, we'll discuss empowering the electorate in participating and engaging in elections and democratic exercises. I'm your host, John Antiquera, and we are live via ANFREL's Facebook and LinkedIn pages, as well as via ANFREL's YouTube channel. I feel like my introduction is very long, no? But it's just 4 minutes. The episodes of the Election Observer podcasts can also be streamed later on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. With us today are two institutions and respected colleagues at ANFREL. First one is Dr. Gopal Krishna Siwakoti, the Central Chairperson of the National Election Observation Committee in Nepal. And the second one is Mr. Pongsak Chanon, the Director of WeWatch in Thailand. Hello, Dr. Gopal and Pisong. Welcome to the Election Observer podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you for confirming for our very short discussion. It's nice to see you. I know I've seen Dr. Gopal in Nepal a few weeks ago, a few months ago, and Pisong, of course, is a dear colleague at ANFREL before. It's nice having you both here. For my first question, no, in recent elections in your country, in Nepal and Thailand, how would you characterize the level of participation and engagement of the elect? Who would like to go first? Maybe we go with Dr. Gopal first.
Senior first.
All right. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
First of all, hi. Thank you for good to see you after such a long gap. But we've been part of the movement, for the last many decades, and so it's great to see, both of you, and of course, the entire ANFREL family as part of this podcast. Yes, thank you very much for posing this very important question. Well, with regards to Nepal's context, the election that was held on the 5th of March was, first of all, it was not planned. It was not a periodic election. It was an unprecedented and, in a way, abruptly declared election because, as you already know, it was all because of the Genji uprising during the first week of September in Nepal, and the formation of the interim government, which confirmed that the election will take place in 6 months of time, and that is what it happened on the fifth of March, this year. The the election as such, talking about the election as such in Nepal's context, is that Nepalese do not compromise with the competitive electoral democracy,
Mhm,
open society, and the enjoyment of human rights, even under exceptionally difficult circumstances. We have seen the Rana regime, we have seen the Panchayat regime, and then followed by different forms of regimes in different phases, even during the state of emergency, and followed by the despotic royal regime. But election, like whenever there is an election, the Nepalese surely go for an election because they love democracy. They have a dedication and passion towards a democratic polity. So that's why it was a very odd and adversarial situation in Nepalese context this time around, because of what we witnessed on September 8 and 9 was the colossal damage in terms of the killing of young people, young demonstrators, and followed by a massive damage and destruction of the vital installations and both the state and even private properties.
mhm,
But again, even like despite that kind of situation, that when we thought that election is the only way, election is the only tool that could land the high intensity conflict, or high intensity kind of transition or political turmoil that will bring to the highway. So now we have entered into the highway after a lot of kind of struggle and a lot of uncertainty and unpredictability, but we are there. So, so in a way, we haven't compromised our democratic polity and our competitive electoral process. Otherwise, we would have gone into a complete chaos and a black hole. Because when I
mhm,
remember the situation that happened on those 2 days, that was unimaginable. But now
mhm,
we are a bit relieved, a bit relaxed, but we really need to show how far we're going to go with this historic endeavor. But we are now somehow self-contented with the process.
mhm. Pisong?
Okay. In Thailand, we have many problems and many issues that we can discuss. But however, I try to summarize now. Uh,
Mhm,
in the previous election that just been passed, uh, I can say that there was a lack of transparency and
Mhm.
trust. Uh, we have problem with the trusted of the people for the election management body. So many people criticize, many people get angry. Even right now, still we are not proper results detailed announcement yet. So
Mhm.
still people seeking what is the problem because they also use the, the program no to to combine the election result from the local area. So even right now, there was some organization try to search that the local result from on the ground is correct or not. No? And we have many issues like uh, example election law
Mhm.
that of course we need to have a election law reform later. But in some law, they also make the right of the people decreasing in the election system and the right to access the election. But however, the key electoral issue challenge and some problem that we identify is like ballot crisis. Not there was a high list and record high invalid ballots, and due to the voters confusion between the election and referendum, because this is the first time that we have election and referendum together
Mhm.
at the same time,
Mhm.
and also a lot of news and criticized by the people. In this election, they use a lot of gray money. It's a
Mhm.
massive plug of the untaxable gray money for vote buying. Of course, election management body couldn't get the strong case or concrete that okay this this candidate or this party using the gray money or money politics. But digital warfare also the shift to aggressive social media. No, there was a manipulation and the IO. No, uh, I hope that you all know about IO. Uh, there was a law public media's literacy. That's also the issue. The lawfare, as I said, strategic use law and regulation for restrict the political rights. And of course, there was something like example.
Mhm.
There was a law say that if uh, the political party want to send the party agent or party observer to observe in the election, they they need to declare the money, to support the observer in the campaign finance. So nobody, I mean, the no party want to send the observer to observe the election. Also,
Mhm.
take out the regulation to support the private sector and the foundation to observe the election. So in this case, no support, no money or encourage the people or the voter to observe the election. Also, I think
Mhm.
this is increasing. And state neutrality also one of the problem. Uh, in the past, we have a principle that election management body should be independent and should
Mhm.
be professional, should be neutrality, right? But in the reality, they use the Ministry of Interior staff in the local area to organize the election. So I think there was an abuse of the state's machinery and the local patronage network. Also considered as a problem with the neutrality when you
Mhm.
organize the election. That's that's example.
Okay. Because Pisong has mentioned about election observation, no? I wanted to just contextualize what we mean by participation and engagement. Of course, it's not just about voting. It's also about contesting elections. It's also being part of civil society organizations that monitor elections. So these are different kinds of participation and engagement in elections. So just for the context of everyone who are listening right now, this is part of the discussion that we are having right now. And also just to connect with your response to the first question, no? In Nepal, um, what have been the improvements in encouraging more participation and inclusion of vulnerable sectors, especially coming from the protest action that you've mentioned earlier, Dr. Gopal? And for Thailand, I know, Pisong, you mentioned some frustration, several frustrations of the electorate in the electoral system in Thailand and some of the challenges that they have faced in engaging elections. I just to connect it with the question, no, despite that, have there been improvements or encouraging actions for the electorate to participate in elections? Maybe we go with you first, Pisong, before we go to Dr. Gopal.
Uh, Actually, in last election,
Mhm,
the civil society uh, try to campaign, try to
mhm,
give voter education, because as I informed before, that was the first time for us to have election and referendum at the same time. No, there was a big network called Corn for All. The Corn for All network, they try to mobilizing the people for the referendum, turn out
mhm,
for the referendum and election. And of course, uh, if somebody ask me what is the biggest problem in your country regarding election, I probably say, oh, of course, it's structure and the constitution, because it's
mhm,
combined. So, however, in this case, they also the people movement try to campaign that we need to change the constitution, and people accept that, and referendum passed, and now the new government need to follow the people mandate. But
mhm,
however, uh, if talking about civil society, like example, we watch, as I working with we watch and iLaw and we wish and vote 62, they
mhm,
all organization. This is just example. Nah? There was more organization than this for to have an innovation for election observation. And of course,
mhm,
uh, we asked the voter and the people who can go to the polling station, take the photo at the election result form at the polling station, and send
mhm,
to the application to compare the result, election result in the polling station. But of course, we talking about this for a long time, and we also looking at the model of Philippines when you have PVT, no, the parallel vote tabulation. But however, uh, I think for this election, they encourage people to think about election observation more than in the past,
mhm,
because there's so many problems on the election day, and they are worried about electoral result that as I informed, no, that people criticize election management body a lot about the
mhm,
election, and this is uh, how to call the way to talk that how to compare how
mhm,
the civil society can do the PVT or even try to solve this problem, because it's not trust the election commission. And of course, there was the the network to monitor the digital platform, because
mhm,
there was any violation in the digital platform. No? And of course, uh, there are a lot of activity that the civil society do together, uh, voter education, training, election observation training, and also a call hotline. We call hotline for the people to call and ask. Uh,
mhm.
just give you example on this, that there was a involved and participate from the civil society organization.
Dr. Gopal, I know Nayok also deployed observers during the last election. No? But was just going back to the question, what have been the improvements in encouraging more participation and inclusion of vulnerable sectors in elections, in particularly in the context of Nepal?
Okay, yeah, thank you. In fact, our constitution and the subsequent laws and policies do have a normative framework towards the inclusion of the vulnerable section of the society, including like women and persons with disabilities, and or other sections of indigenous community, Dalit community, and others. So, but in paper, the process of inclusion it looks pretty fine because
Mhm.
it's a constitutional guarantee as well as embedded in the laws. But
Mhm.
however, when we're talking about the real inclusion, not only in terms of as a voter, but also as a candidate, and or also engage the entire marginalized section of the society into the electoral process, not for a one-day event on the election day. That part is still pretty weak here in our context.
Mhm.
Yes, of course, there are some targeted, activities in terms of outreach programs and voter education and civic education and etc. But because the election has been held in a very very fast track scale, and so there was like not much time in terms of uh, outreach to the targeted community in that sense, because we had to have the election anyway because there was no any other option. That's why the way we were like considering that every citizen should be informed, educated, and they should have their own agency in order to enjoy in the electoral process, not only as a voter but also as a campaigner, opinion builders, and also as a candidate. So that part is still lacking also because this time around the like for example in the case of women, uh, we have only 13 female candidates who have won, only 13. But that has to be compensated through our parallel mixed system, which is called proportional representation.
Mhm.
So so that in the field we cannot we were not able to see the winning of the women candidates or candidates from other vulnerable sections of the society, and that had to be compensated through the proportional representation system. And unfortunately, even though the parallel system has an equal weight, either it is from first the past post system or through the proportionate representation system, the weightage should be the equal. But in the public
Mhm.
perception, it is different, unfortunately, because those who contest directly as a candidate in the field, in the constituencies, are regarded in a higher scale, whereas
Mhm.
those who have been picked up and nominated by the parties, as a what you call is closed list, their status, unfortunately, is a secondary one. So that now the quota has to be fulfilled through the proportionate system of the
Mhm.
vulnerable section of the society. Then the real doctrine of inclusion is getting a bit weaker in that sense.
Mhm.
But and the other problem we have is that a big section of the young population, both the muscle power and the brain power, is out of the country. So this time around,
Mhm.
also we are not able to incorporate the enfranchisement of the voters who live abroad. So we talked a lot about introducing out of country voting this time, but it could not
Mhm.
happen. So around 4 million population is out of the country who have been not been part of the electoral process, unfortunately, and also out of district voting, because there is a lot of circular and urban centric migration. So around 2 million voters were also not able to vote in that sense. But maybe because it's so expensive to travel back to the same constituency, so maybe some certain section of the voters, managed to travel back to their home constituency. But
Mhm.
those people who could not afford it, or they didn't have time or resources, they were not able to vote in that sense. But to be precise, that the question is of sustainability of inclusion. Well, of course, we have inclusion measures in the constitution, in the laws and policies, but the question is how to go beyond the tokenism,
Yes.
beyond kind of one day event, because there are
Mm.
many practical barriers associated with the full and complete and informed participation
Yes.
at all levels and tiers of the government. It's not only about
Mm.
talking about in the federal parliament. We're also
Yes.
talking about in the provincial as well as the local government and other other organs of the state mechanism. So that we need to work really hard in the days to come.
Mhm.
Hopefully, now we'll have a new laws and policies enacted by the new parliament, so that the whole doctrine of real inclusion will be materialized in the days to come.
Mm. I can relate to what you said about overseas voters. I come from a country where Filipinos who are abroad can vote because we have a population. We have a lot of what we call overseas Filipino workers. I'm also included in that. I'm an overseas voter myself, but that of course everyone should not be should be able to participate and exercise their right to vote, even people who are working abroad. No, I think that could be something that could be pursued in terms of electoral reform in the coming in this new parliament, no, uh, I can totally relate to that. For my next question, no, developments in countries like Nepal, Thailand, and Bangladesh have been driven by the youth taking charge in expressing frustrations in the system and calling for reforms. In fact, we've also seen that these frustrations, when they are utilized, when they are collected, they can actually translate into electoral victory when the youth sector throw their support towards who they see or who have captured their imagination and also have seen what they are frustrated about. They tend to get more votes. They tend to win elections. No, so it somehow translates to electoral participation and engagement in that. But as much as this happens, of course, there are people who are frustrated when promises are not kept. So for my next question is what efforts have been taken to sustain the youth participation in the affairs of the nation that goes beyond, as you said, Dr. Gopal, that goes beyond the election day, that goes beyond just exercising their right to vote. So what have been are there mechanisms available for them to participate in governance in the country? Maybe Dr. Gopal, we can go to you first.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. This is a very vital question, in fact, in our context, because the whole election was a Gen Z uprising trigger. It was the
Yes.
outcome of the Gen Z uprising. So now, what I can see some difference in Nepal's context is that after the or in the process of the Gen Z uprising, or soon after that, we had a completely different kind of scenario in the country. The Genji process as such did not, in that sense, collaborate with the existing regime, and so many things were dismantled in that sense. We managed to seek for the survival of the constitution, because we have one of the best constitutions in terms of human rights and inclusion in the country, and also in
Mhm.
terms of representation. So that was saved. That was beautifully saved in that sense, right? So, and then the youth themselves debated a lot about whether saving the constitutions would be a better way or dismantling it. But there was like over 99% plus kind of opinion among the young population that this constitution must survive and the election must be held in a competitive manner. So that was the beauty of our youth movement in the country, number one. But again, even before the the change movement, there was a lot of discourse and debate about the accountability process,
Mhm.
the governance issue, the anti-corruption issue, and everything. So it was built with a giant kind of or engaged and invested background and context. It didn't happen all of a sudden. So there was a lot of groundwork already done with regards to paving ways for a better regime or better election or better kind of governance in that sense. So and then soon after the election also there were at multiple level there was youth led debates and discourse. There was organized campaigns among youths, and even New York also organized a nationwide Gen Z consensus building project in all 7 provinces, just to
Mhm.
make sure that we do not, like, nobody would advocate the culture of violence. We do not kind of give a room for, even a tiny room for a culture of impunity, for example. We do not compromise with the constitutional supremacy or the force of law instead of law of force, because the situation was very, very scary, that there could have been a different kind of chaotic situation. But the young population was very smart in that sense. The youth leadership was very calculative, and so the nurturing and mentoring also from the civil society organization was also commendable. So that's why the it has been manifested on the ballot, actually. So one good thing what happened is, in between, the election commission also opened up a window period for
Mhm.
the first time voters, even though it was already shut down, the registration was already shut down, but as an
Mhm.
affirmative action in the given exceptional situation. So over almost 900,000 young population also voted, and I'm sure
Mhm.
most of them voted for change. That's what I believe, right?
Mhm.
Most of them. Okay,
Mhm.
so that was one affirmative action taken by the election commission, and so the issue of accountability is there. So even today, the young, because we have over like 5 million young population in this country, and everybody is not going in going like jumping into the politics, right? So there
Mhm.
are mentors, they are part of the civil society. Even this time, a huge section of the Gen Z and youth plus also participated in the election observation process.
Mhm.
So that was really, really a commendable one. We mobilized over 100 dedicated you know Gen Z group, young population in the electoral process. We trained them, we mentored them, and then they were also like, they're so vigilant during the election process. So young populations in our context are in every front, not only in the
Mhm.
politics. But the best part in the parliamentary formation is that over like 40, like there are like 40% of the parliamentarians are below 40 years of age.
Mhm.
This is for the first time it has happened in the country. So political parties are gradually realizing about the real and genuine inclusion of the young population in the party rank and file also, right? So which was not the case in South Asia, as you already know, that seniors are already respected, so nobody questions the senior, whatever the guy is bad or good, nobody cares because the person is senior. But now it has broken. This has been dismantled. That, yeah, seniors we have to respect if they are good people, all right. But the space they have to leave, they have to like leave the space slowly and gradually, so that young population with innovative mind, innovative brain, innovative ideas and thoughts for the nation's prosperity and progress would be inside the ring. So that's why this has really started happening in the country, in all parties, not only an RSP, but also other parties have also started changing their inner engineering within the
Mhm.
party rank and file, because it's a kind of tsunami, right? So you cannot
Yeah.
stop the youth-led advocacy or youth-led movement
Yes.
tsunamis. Right? If you do that, then you will be swept away. So that's why something we are seeing something beautiful in this country. But hopefully this will sustain in the days to come, and we'll have a stable democratic polity. It won't be symbolic only. It won't be just episodic only for election day. or yeah, or around the election time also. So this has to be part of the built-in process among the political parties, among civil society organizations as well, in among the social movements, etc. So that's why I'm very very hopeful that this country
Mhm.
will be heading towards a real transformative change. So that's what I feel.
Yes. Yes, but it also is, I think, with the young people now. It pains me to say young people because it makes me feel older. But with young people now, they know when organizations are just doing lip service. So if you promise reform, the young people really need to see it, because if you just see it just for the sake of getting their votes, they would definitely know and they would definitely do something about it. No. But that's good to hear about the developments in Nepal. Um, in Let's go to Pisong. No, Pisong works with WeWatch, which is led by the youth. Pisong himself is still very youthful up to now. He might be even look youthful than I am. I was just related to the question. No, maybe we can share some efforts from WeWatch itself about engaging and sustaining youth participation in the affairs of the nation.
Uh,
But before that, I just like to praise P Song's real youthfulness
Yes.
activism in Afghanistan when he was
Mm,
like observing the election where multiple
mm.
bombs were blasting. So he was just around there. And he's a survivor actually in that sense. Sorry to
Oh.
interrupt, but I
No,
have
no,
seen.
no, it's okay. It's nice to hear these stories. I was not around ANFREL then when you observed the elections in Afghanistan. But I know, yeah, Pisong, I saw some photos about it. Yes, Pisong, go ahead.
I have many things to share, but yeah, some issue I also forgot to share. No, but when Dr. Gopal sharing about the inclusive, still remember that in Thailand, like if you're talking about women participation, the women candidate who participate in the last election, it's just only 19%, only 19%. And
One nine
if
nineteen.
you compare with the previous election in the past, also look the same. So it's
Mhm,
not increasing. This is okay. We leave this point, but for the PWD, still when you're talking about participation, you need to look at the before election and on election day and after election. The voter education still problem, right? And also access to election on the election day still problem. And many people call us and inform us that they they couldn't go to the polling station. Uh, if talking about inclusive, I think in Nepal, even you have a right to vote in the prison, right?
Yep.
If you are
Yes.
in, yeah, in Philippines, in jail you have a right to vote. In Thailand, we don't have a right to vote
Okay.
for the prisoner. So PWD also many problem, and of course, when I say this point, still we need a reform, no, with the election management body. But however, this is very long story. Even we always ask the election management body in Thailand about uh, what about the manual to helping the it need to use the manual to train with the polling staff, the election
mhm,
polling staff, to know how to help the PWD inside the polling station. In Thailand, we have 7 types of the PWD. But when we working together with the Election Commission of Thailand, they have already the manual to train the staff, but they never use that one. And also the checklist that okay, when you organizing the polling station, right? So you need to have a checklist to tick. Okay, do they have this problem to make them cannot exit to the polling station or not? They not use that checklist. So we try to ask the election commission many times that when you want to use the manual and checklist, this is sincerely arguing, and we feel like they're not really have an intention to use or to to help to make the PWD access to the election, even the way to organizing the polling station. However, talking about inclusive, for me, the invalid paper is also the big issue in Thailand. Thailand, the previous election in the past, we have a lot of invalid paper. Like if you're talking about 2019, we have like 2.1 million invalid paper. And also more than 2 years ago, we have before this election, we also have that election. The general election have 2.9 million for the invalid paper. And this year election, we have more than 3 million invalid paper. It's increasing everything. So it's also its indicator. It's not only the inclusive, because in our election principle, we also thinking about voter education related to the invalid paper. And invalid paper for us is intention. Like it should be intention. But in Thailand, the invalid paper, if you tick, we use a pen, right? If we tick right, it will become invalid. It become an invalid paper. So you must cross properly at the square blank. The way that sometimes you are the how do you call the PWD, or you checking your hand, or the table that you place the ballot paper is not proper. So the way that you marking ballot paper is not the right way. So we try to talk to the election commission that you have a right to make an intention when you consider the valid or invalid paper. For us, inclusive is also including everything, right? The way that we always use as a principle is the voter must know their right. The second, the right, they need to access their right, so to go to the polling station, and their right must be counted. The level of the value of the election when you're organizing election, so you know your right, you accept your right, and your right counted. That's the principle of the election. For us, invalid paper, if you throwing the people who mark the ballot paper, throw out 3 million right to the election. So for me, this is also abuse the right. Principle. But however, last election just passed, we have a big issue again in secrecy of ballot paper. The Election Commission of Thailand using the barcode and QR code, that when the people scan, so they criticize that somebody said that they can prove that you can track back that who you vote for. So right now, this issue argue in the Thai society, and many people try to prove that this ballot paper can track back or not. And election commission haven't clear yet this process and also this problem, and now it's go to the court. Go to the court. So we will see what will happen. There was a lot of problem in the last election that we try to dig out, and also try to make a recommendation. The civil society know that the election management body have a right, have a power to do something. Like even when we watch have recommend ECT. We submit our
Mhm.
recommendation to ECT. Why not you use the camera, digital camera? Because
Mhm.
now pretty cheap, the camera. So if they have a memory card inside, the memory card is
Mm,
just a few dollars. And right now the camera was very cheap, so it can
mhm.
use some small budget in every polling station. So it can be approved that if someone come to do something wrong, or the staff election staff do something wrong, or there was a violation in the polling station, it can be
Mhm.
approved. But
Mm.
but but they have argument, they have a meeting, they not come out that okay they agree with reward or not. But we try to push, many issues that it should be guarantee our right to vote. Is
Mm. Be- Before I ask my next question, I just wanted to go back to what you said about um, the ballot paper. It's a very interesting take on it. That of course it affects also particular sectors when the intention of the voter is not recognized, because there is, I think in the context of Thailand, you have um, they have a poster of this in polling stations, right? They have these marks are acceptable, these marks are not acceptable. But then of course the international standard is that you recognize, of course, the voter's intent, and whether or not it follows that, it should be recognized that the voter's intent is important, of course, and tantamount. Um, just I have last two questions. No, we've talked about challenges and issues of voters, of the electorate, in participating and engaging in elections. What then should be the reforms that should be pushed? We've mentioned earlier already one reform, but then what reforms are needed to improve the better to improve the participation and engagement of different sectors in elections and democracy? Who would like to go first?
May I?
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. So, yes, this is, uh, like, if we are talking about the future course of direction, we need to really dig out what are the issues of critical concern in terms of constraints and challenges so far. So, as we already mentioned, some of the challenges, but I would like to highlight a couple of challenges that particularly the youths are facing now in our context,
Sure.
and some way forward. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
the age issue, the age factor. For example, you'll get your citizenship certificate at the age of 16.
Mm-hmm.
You are an eligible voter at the age of 18. You can be
Mm-hmm.
an observer if you are 21, but you have to be 25 in order to become a candidate for the federal parliament, right?
Mm-hmm.
So anybody, and then if you're talking about the Gen Z as such, means at the age of 28, your Gen Z category is gone, right?
Yes.
So you have hardly 3 years or so. If you have a space, in the highest political platform, to serve.
Mm-hmm.
So now we are asking for a changing, or in other words, lowering the age of the participation in terms of electoral contest.
Mm-hmm.
So 25 is, I think, too high. The bar is too high, so the bar should be lower. That's what the youth. I am sure the youth will have a critical issue of agenda for recommendations and for advocacy in the days to come on that front. Number one. Number two, when we're talking about representation, and particularly an electoral representation, it will talk about the level playing field. So when we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about level playing field, we are talking also about resources,
Yes.
because of course there is a prescribed ceiling for expenditure by the election commission, but again you need money. Even that ceiling money, you need that, right? So young population, because they don't earn, right? They have, with some exception, of course, right? So this is not an earning age in that sense, and so they are not mature enough to build the network for either in business or other sectors, even in job or anywhere. So that means so there should be special provisions for the certain youth category of population with regards to the funding structure.
Mhm.
Maybe maybe the state treasury, there should be some token money from the state treasury or seed money from the state treasury for campaign purpose. Okay, I'm talking about campaign purpose, campaign financing. Otherwise, how can the young population get money? Otherwise, it is very, very difficult, in particularly in this, in the global context, because the elections are getting very, very expensive in any way, whether we like it or not. So that is what there should be a level playing field in, also in terms of the campaign financing and the funding protocol. That is what I strongly recommend for that. And this is, I think, a common kind of agenda for action among young population. That's one. Number two is about the how to build in appropriately, correctly, in the party structure of the young population.
Mhm.
Because the parties do have a different kind of statute, they have a different constitution. So unless they change the constitution, it will be very difficult for young population to really take a space, their space in the higher side of the rank and file in the political parties. For example, if you want to join a party, then you have to graduate slowly and gradually to reach up to that level. For example, to get a ticket, for example, as a candidate, you have to pass through several years. So that means you will have hardly an opportunity. If you are young, you have an innovative idea, you have a spirit, you know about the accountability, you have fresh perspective, but still you cannot do because other parties do have the gatekeeping procedure or mechanism, right?
Mhm.
So that must
Mhm.
be changed. Otherwise, young population will have a very, very hard choice whether to jump into the election fray or not. So plunging into electoral politics is a risky game. It's like a
Yes.
gambling. But unless there
Mhm.
is some predictability, some a regular kind of competitive space, then yeah, everybody would like to be part of that. So that is that is one of the major issues of critical concern. The other one is intergenerational tension.
Mhm.
Again, as I mentioned earlier, the first generation, because they have enjoyed the politics, they have built the network, they know the people, they have resources, they have everything, right? And so even today, young population is regarded as or tech savvy, or only they talk about what do you call all digital platform and everything. They don't know anything the outside of the worldly affairs. That is the perception. But in fact, the young population do have fresh perspective. They have to become a tech savvy means they know the world. They know the world better. They have more information. They have new information. They have innovative information. They can collect the information from multiple sources and analyze the information for the betterment of the country. Right. So that's why. So, but again, one fear factor is there. The fear factor is again the abuse of AI, the abuse
Mhm.
of digital technology.
Mhm.
This might happen. Like for example, algorithm is a big issue in election
Yes.
campaign in our country and everywhere. Okay, and then what do you call the astroturfing
Mhm.
could be dangerous, because it hijacks the person's conscience and sovereignty. So that is one thing. And then creating echo chamber, like that is used for business purpose basically. Of
Mhm.
course, the platforms are good if they are being used in a very, very constructive way. That's fine. But if those platforms are used or as a part of disinformation or
Mhm.
misinformation or ill information, or deceptive information, that will be very dangerous for the stability of the democracy. So youth, I will also have a humble kind of plea to the young population that
Mhm.
please make best use of the available technology. Yes, because yes, it can have a like uh, Yuval Noah Harari once said in his book 21st Lessons in the 21st Century that human being is a beautiful creature, right? And if and it has source of information because it is the only like human being is the only creature it collects the information and analyzes the information for the best of humanity. But if the human being would be fed with wrong information, disinformation, then the human being can turn into a violent animal, a wild animal. So it can go wild, right, instantly. So that's why my worries about the use of technology, particularly social sites, is very very important. So now to be precise, that young population should be allowed of opportunities for more networking, more resources, and mentorship and guidance. So that's why they are the asset of the country. So this is how we as civil society organization, as a National Election Observation Committee, we are not here only for observing an episodic election, but also to engage with the young population to guide them, to mentor them to that direction.
Okay. In the interest of time, this is that was my last question. So, Pisong, we'd love to hear from you before we end the show.
For the recommendation, as I already mentioned in the earlier, uh,
Mm-hmm.
for recommendation, we have to main point. First, we need to reform the election law in Thailand.
Mm-hmm.
That was a problem, big problem. The second is we need to do the election management body reform. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so the recommendation was two part. First part is the recommendation that the election management body can do, and the second is to make in the constitution or to change in the constitution or in the law. So for the EMB that they can bring change, like example, the way that they appointed the polling station staff in Thailand, we have a problem. They as I told you, that election management body using uh, the staff of the Ministry of Interior, like village chief, like district chief. So we
Mm-hmm.
all know that these people, maybe they are related to the local politics, no, local politician. So it will be a question of the neutrality. So the second is we also try to encourage the election management body to solve the problem of the invalid paper. Not even for not only for the election, general election, but also the referendum and also the overseas vote. So the
Mm-hmm.
third is uh, we want to have the digital camera, and also they need to bring back the we call the regulation for the private sector to monitor the election. So the fourth is maybe talking about electronic. So right now, they use a tool called ECT report. It's a system or the program that they combine with the all result. No? But we want to have like open source or verified source code or the people can monitor. Not only the people from the election management body, they can they can do by themselves, or the question is every program related to the election result, it should be open, it should be can monitor, not only the election staff can do. So it should be transparency, so people can trust the result. And of course, we already mentioned about the PWD, they request
Mm-hmm.
the manual and the checklist. And of course, if talking about the law reform, so we think that it should be go through the structure of the ECT, structure of the election management body. Like even we look at the people who are who are monitor or even uh, to make a decision when the people they apply. No,
Mhm.
so since the question on the neutrality of the ECT that occur in Thai society a lot, so we look at the organization or the mechanism that related to the power of the election commission. So the background and like example, the senator have a right to approve who will be election commissioner, something like that. It should be changed. And also, of course, election law need to change, not many. And if we looking at the education, many
Mhm.
people say that the election education or election information, it should be talking inside the school, not
Mhm.
only talking when you have a right to vote, but it should be thinking about political participation, election, and policy inside the school, put in the curriculum. Okay, that's example.
Okay, thank you, Piso. No, but before I let you go, particularly you, Dr. Gopal, I know New York released your final report, election observation report. Where can our viewers download the report and read it?
Yeah, it is also available on a QR code format. We can also send. We can also we're uploading it on website very soon, but we it is already available in the QR format. Once it's just like 2 seconds job, you take a
Mhm.
picture and the entire report in English and Nepali is available. It's also on our in our Facebook page, my Facebook page as well as New York's Facebook page.
Okay, thank you. Please follow New York. The Facebook page is National Election Observation Committee. You can also follow We Watch on Facebook. They're everywhere as well. Thank you again, Dr. Gopal and Pisong, for joining us today, for accepting our invitation.
Once the report, election,
Yes.
general election report also, the observation report.
You also
Yeah.
have, yes, please visit
This
We Watch website. It's on your website as well, right?
and also Facebook, there are
And
many
Facebook.
activities come up.
And in Thailand, also Line. Maybe you're also available online, no?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you,
Oh,
Dr.
but,
Gopal and Piso. I will have to
uh,
hide you from the
yeah.
feed so that I can close the
Thank
show
you.
formally.
Thank you
But
so
thank
much.
you
Thank you
again.
so much. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you,
Thank you.
thank you, Kap, John.
Yes, so and that has been the Election Observer podcast episode on empowering the electorate and participating and engaging in elections and democratic exercises. Both organizations have observed elections in their country, in Thailand for WeWatch, and in Nepal, Nayok. And their reports are available on their website. Please Google them. You can find the reports for more insights about what we have discussed during this episode. Get the latest news and updates about ANFREL programs and activities through our Facebook, X, LinkedIn, and TikTok pages. You can also subscribe to our YouTube and WhatsApp channels. Please follow the Election Observer podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Thank you for joining us again today. It has been a while, but we're back. I'm your host, John Antiquera. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.